Hey everyone, how's it going? Now, with Easter coming up and it's spring now, I thought it would be fun to show you guys how to do a cool spring bunny project. Now, this is a great project to do with the younger grades like kindergarten, first grade, and just any kid that wants to do like a fun little spring project. So, real easy. Just some things you're going to need for this are a pencil, an eraser, scissors, you're going to need some drawing paper, some green construction paper, and then some paint. Now, if you don't have things like paint or oil pastels, crayons, markers, colored pencils, those will work just as good. So, what we want to do first is we want to make our bunny. And to make a bunny, it is very easy. So, I'm going to start off in pencil just so you guys can kind of see it. So, to start off with our bunny, what we're going to do is the first thing is you want to start down here at the bottom of your paper and you're going to make a big, tall, sad face. Now, this sad face, it's going to go to about the halfway point of your paper. You don't want it to go too high or you're not going to have room for the ears. So, let's start off with the ears. Now, to draw the ears, I'm going to draw a line that's going to kind of curve up like this. And then I'm just going to curve it back down. I'm not going to just go straight up like a triangle. I put some curves into it. And then same thing here, just kind of curve up. And then you're just going to curve back down. Then you want to make the inside part of the ear. You're just going to make the exact same shape. And since this ear is a little bit smaller than this one, I'm actually just going to draw the shape right around it, just so they're about the same size. Now, once you're done with this, then you want to make the face. Now, I'm going to keep the face up here because we're going to be putting some grass down here. So to draw the face, I'm just going to start off by just making two circles, and I'm going to leave a little bit of space in between them. And then I like to draw another little circle at the top. That can just be a little bit of a reflection. Now, right in between the eyes, I'm going to just add a little straight line. Kind of looks like a little mouth. And then I'm going to put a letter V right in between there just so I can turn it into a nose. Now, starting right here, you want to make the cheeks. So to draw that, you're going to start here and you're going to draw a circle shape that's just going to go up and then back down. And then I'm going to do the same thing here. Now, you want to make sure that these circles are touching and you don't want them on either side of the nose or, kind of floating down here or hanging off them. It just won't look right. Then I'm going to start here and I'm just going to draw a little square shape. So I'm going to go down, over, and then up. And then I'm just going to draw a little line that goes straight down here. Then the last thing we want to do is we want to add some whiskers onto here. So starting here, I'm just going to draw a line that's going to go out, and I'm going to add a little bit of a curl to it. And then I'm just going to do this I'm going to do this about 3 times. And then I'm going to do the same thing over here. So I'm just going to put 3 little whiskers on each side. And this is our basic shape of our bunny rabbit. Now, for this next step, I want to outline it, and I'm actually going to use a black oil pastel. You guys could use something like a black crayon or a permanent marker, whatever you want to use. So I'm just going to trace this whole thing, and when I trace this, you want to make sure that you push down nice and dark so you get a dark line. If you go too light, then you get a gray line like this, and it doesn't stand out as much. So make sure you're pushing down hard and try not to rub your hands across this. There we have our bunny all done and drawn out in our black oil pastel. Now, our next step that we want to do is we want to paint the background of our rabbit. Now, this is where our liquid watercolor paint is going to come in handy. Now, if you don't have any watercolor paint or any paint at home, then, just using something like crayons, markers, something like that is going to work just as well. So I'm going to put a little bit of paint in here. And the trick is with this watercolor paint is you want to make sure that you have a lot of water on your brush when you are painting with it. So what we want to do is we want to make a nice little kind of stripe pattern across here. So I like to kind of turn my rabbit sideways. And what you're going to do is you're just going to paint, and you're going to paint just some big stripes that go all the way up to the rabbit. And then you're just going to jump over here and then do the same thing. Then what I'm going to do is I'm just going to leave a little bit of space, and I'm going to start painting another stripe right here. And then I'm going to do the same thing over here. Try to line them up the best you can. This part is a little bit tricky for kids, so that's why sometimes using a ruler and maybe drawing some lines across will kind of help you. Now, you're going to do this the whole way down with one color, and then when you get to the ears, make sure that you are painting up to the ear, and then get this spot in between. For some reason, kids always like to forget that spot. So, when you're done with that, you're going to have a picture of a rabbit, and you're going to have one color of stripes on here, and then you're going to have all these white stripes in here. Now, the reason I like to do one color at a time is so that way by the time I'm done with this is going to be mostly dry down here, and the colors won't run together. So your next step is to take that next color that you want to use, and you're going to paint that in between all of these stripes here. So I'm going to use some of this magenta right here, add some water to it, and I'm just going to paint right in between all of these stripes here. Okay, so once you're done, then you're going to have your rabbit, and it's going to have all these different color stripes in the background, and it's really going to make it pop because we left the rabbit all white. Now, the next step that you want to do is you want to paint the inside of the ears and the nose of the rabbit. Now, I'm just going to stick with this magenta color right here, and I'm going to get some water on there, and then I'm just going to paint the inside of the ears. Now, something I always tell my students is to make sure that you are being nice to your paintbrush. Don't stab it down real hard. I don't know why kids always want to do that. Imagine like you're petting a little puppy kitten or a little rabbit. You don't want to be mean to it, you want to be nice, and you want to make sure that your paintbrush has some nice hair. Don't give your paintbrush a bad hair day. So don't just stab it down and make the bristles go everywhere. So I'm going to paint the inside of the ears, and then I'm going to take the same color and I'm just going to paint a little bit on the nose right here. Now, some people like to take some yellow and they like to paint the cheeks or different things like that, but that's totally optional. So I'm going to set this over to the side and let it dry for a minute. And while I'm letting this dry, I'm going to pull out my green construction paper. Now, this is totally optional, but if you have it, it looks really cool and definitely adds something to your picture. So I'm going to take some green construction paper, and this paper is actually the same width as the paper that I painted my rabbit. So I'm just going to take this, and I'm going to take a ruler, and I'm just going to draw a straight line right down the center, or just right down the edge, I should say. So just make sure that your pencil's right up against the ruler. Always hold your pencil with the hand you draw with and your ruler with the other hand. So now that I have my line, I'm going to cut this strip of paper. And all I need is this strip. I can put this other piece of paper over to the side. Now, what you want to do on here, and I'm going to use a permanent marker to show you guys, is you want to make a nice little zigzag pattern that goes from one side to the next. And this is going to look like grass. Now, you don't want it to be really big, and you don't want them to be all the same size. You want them to be nice and skinny and kind of close together. So I'm going to make these like different sizes, and I'm just going to put these all across here. Now you can see when I'm drawing these, I'm only going to about the middle of my strip of paper. I'm not going all the way down here, or else I'm going to end up with a bunch of different strips. So you just want to go all the way across from one end to the next. And now you want to cut this off. Now, when cutting this, you want to keep your scissors pointing in one direction. You don't want to turn your paper. You only want to turn your scissors. And so when I cut this, I'm just going to cut these in kind of like a little triangle pattern. So instead of like trying to like fight with my scissors and my paper and turn everything, I'm just going to go from the top and just cut these off. And it's just like you're feeding your little pet alligator. Just go nice and slow and feed him all the way back here. He can't eat like this. He needs to have a nice big bite. Now, when you're all done, you're going to have this cool looking piece of grass, and I have all these little black lines on it, so I'm just going to take it and just flip it over like this. Now, once your bunny picture is dry, this is going to go at the bottom here, so it looks like your rabbit is sitting in some grass. Now, make sure that when we glue this down, you are gluing this all the way at the bottom so that it lines up. Don't glue it like this, so we see something down here. Don't glue it upside down like he has a mustache, but line it up at the bottom. So just take your paper and you want to put some glue on it. Now, something I always tell my students is you want to do lots of dots. Globs are for slobs. So just kind of squeeze out some little dots and just kind of put these all over the place. Now, you don't have to get up on these little tiny blades of grass here because then the glue is just going to run everywhere. As long as you get it down here in this big part, it will work totally fine. Then always make sure you put the cap back on your glue so it doesn't dry out. Then I'm going to take this and I'm going to line it up right at the bottom. Just kind of hold it over, gently put it down, line it up, and then just give it a gentle little press and wipe up any glue that comes out. And then you're done. There you go. There is your little Easter spring bunny art project. Like I said, this is a great project for little kids to do. It's a lot of fun. You can always put your own spin on it, do some different things. But there you go. Keep checking in for new art lessons and for checking out our regular videos. We always post 2 a day. Thanks for watching. Hope you guys enjoy.